Dear student friends, I am Dr. Godbole Mahendra Tukaram, welcoming you all again in our today's super lecture. This is the third unit for the UPSC NDA examination. Although it is not too much trusted area by the UPSC or the NDA to frequently ask the question, but this is also somewhat very easily covering up topic in which I am going to explaining about the ecology. So the today's presentation is based on the ecology. Ecology is nothing but it is a oecology. Ecology means it is oecology. And what is oecology? Oecology means the house or habitat. This planet is the oikos or the house or habitat of different biomass or the different organisms, and those organisms may be reside in a different geographical region, maybe some terrestrial, okay, maybe different system we may call it as a lake ecosystem, okay, terrestrial ecosystem or the desert ecosystem and so on. So the composition, what is the composition of this ecosystem? The ecosystem is made by the two component. This is supposed to be living organism and non-living organism. Non-living. The one is living component and another one is a non-living. Non-living में जो है वो है light, temperature, pressure and all water, all non-living component, okay, those are very important. And there is then how the econos is going to creating, it is a interaction between the living things and non-living things, interaction, okay, the interaction between the non-living or living or non-living, whatever. The ecology is a scientific study of the interaction between the living organisms and their physical environment. Combine the Greek word. The ecology is a Greek word. It means the house or the habitat, or Greek word is oikos. That is oikos. Oikos means house or habitat. Okay, habitat of the different living species, and they may be adapted to survive in a different ecological region that may be how to balance their life. These are the components of the ecology. The one is supposed to be the biotic factor, in which living organisms including the plants, animals, fungi and bacteria. Yesterday we saw the classification of different 5 kingdoms. Those all kingdoms are supposed to be residing in this biotic factor. And non-biotic factor is a physical and chemical or the non-living elements that may be shaped to the environment, such as the light and temperature, water, soil and mineral. Okay, the light is very important. We know the light is supposed to be synthesis. The light is going to synthesizing the food in a different leaves kitchen. Okay, in every plastid of the living plants, they may create the food only in the presence of the light. Therefore, these are also important non-biotic factor or non-living factor. Those are also important. Okay, this is the single individual or the living being, that is a single deer. In ecology, there may be a individual species, maybe the population, it may the individual and individuals, that group may create the population. The group of the individual as the same species living in a interbreeding and a specific geographic area. This is the definition of the species. The kingdom is supposed to be the highest organization in the living organism, or the species is the most individual or the last the part of the animal kingdom where the interbreeding can be takes place. There may be interbreeding only in between the deer and deer. It will never be in between the deer and the horse or deer and any other species. Okay, that is the interbreeding. Next is a ecosystem. ecosystem is a unified system, and it is consisting of the biotic community interacting continuously with the abiotic physical environment. Most of the species, for the growth and development, they are depending on the non-living or non-biotic factors, maybe on the light, okay, temperature, and so on. This is the biosphere or the biome. Biome means a large scale regions characterized by the distinct climatic condition. The earth Coriolis force is creating the atmosphere, or it is creating the that is climate, or a monsoon is supposed to be created by the Coriolis force. Okay, the monsoon is created, or it is driven by the Coriolis force, where the alternate heating and the cooling can be takes place, and therefore the different zones of the earth is having a different biomes. Let us take an example, the area on the surface of the earth, right from the 0 to 30 degree on the north side, okay, on it, that is a patch, that is, we can call it as a torrid zone. This is a torrid zone, you can see here, this is a torrid zone. This is a torrid zone on this planet of the earth, where the maximum biosphere you will find out, and at the extreme side of either the northern side and the southern side, there will be very less temperature, and the biodiversity is not as much as rich here, and here also comparison of with this torrid zone in between the Tropic of the Cancer and Tropic of the Capricorn. Okay, so this is a area between the Tropic of the Cancer and Tropic of the Capricorn, from where the 0 degree equatorial or equator is going to passing from this region. Okay, this is a biome, is a large area. Next is a biosphere. Biosphere is a global sum of all living systems on the earth. It is a summation of all the living system, and that zone of the life spanning land, water, and the lower atmosphere. Lower atmosphere means from the 0 to maybe 10 kilometer or 11 kilometer up to the tropopause. Okay, so these are the biomes on the planet of the earth. These are the biomes on the surface of the earth. ये जो बायोम है, वो जो क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन है, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली क्लासिफाई किए गए हैं. जैसे ग्रासलैंड है, टुंड्रा है, और मोस्ट डेंस जो फॉरेस्टेड लैंड है, और फॉरेस्ट से जैसे अमेजोन के रीजन में है, और जैसे इंडिया में भी जो मतलब हमारा दैट इंडो गंगेटिक प्लेन है या सातपुरा माउंटेन है, उसके अलॉन्ग या नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न साइड में जो हिमालयन रीजन में है, वो सब चीजें, that is the tropical rainforest. This climatic region or those biomes are divided on the basis of certain parameters, on the basis of the climate or the soil, dominant vegetation, key wildlife that can be different. Okay, let us take an example of tropical rainforest. The first biome is a tropical rainforest where the warm 17 to 25 degree and the high continuous rainfall, or high continuous means how much? 2000 to 3500 mm rainfall is needed or may receive from this tropical forest. And the tropical forest area may be the different kind of the morphological features of the plants you will observe, that is the broad leaf or evergreen forest. There are the different types of the forest we see. Some of the forests are going to falling their leaves to store the energy. Some of the some of the plants may be the broad leaf and green, dense canopy, and high biodiversity will be there. Okay, but nowadays, due to the deforestation or the continuous enlargement of the cities by the industrialization, this dense forested region is going to declining. The duplication of the forest or the deforestation is taking place, and therefore the many species are supposed to be under the threat. Okay, and therefore the red book data has been published, different species how they are going to suffering. and those species may be the distinct species. There are many species that are going to lost their lineages. What are the key wildlife which may reside in this tropical rainforest? Maybe the monkey, sloth, jaguars, colored birds, and the countless insect. Okay, there are the numerous species are residing in the individual biosphere. Some of the biologists stated that there are the millions of the million species are existing on this planet. Millions of millions means the trillions, and trillion means not millions and the millions. The trillions means 10 to the power of, कुछ भी बोलेगा. You are very close to the answer. Yes, correct. 10 to the power of 12 means 1 trillion means again like this. Again, how you can write in the word? 1 trillion means 1,000 billion. That is millions of million. This much species are going to residing on this planet of the earth, but unfortunately many species are on the threat, and they are going to deploying by means of the poaching. Okay, what is meant by poaching? पोचिंग के वजह से मतलब व्हाट? पोचिंग मीन्स hunting. There are many tribal community or many peoples are going to shooting the different species for the either for beautification and for food and whatever, they are going to making threat to the biodiversity. ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट मैंने आपको पढ़ाया जिसके अंदर ज्यादा मतलब प्रेसिपिटेशन होता है, जैसे 2000 से लेकर के 3500 तक जहां पर मतलब बरसात हो, बारिश हो, उसे हम कहते हैं दैट इज द ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज द सवन्ना ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट. Savanna tropical rainforest means where the distinct wet and dry seasons or the nutrient poor soil is available. Distinct dry season and soil is not enriched by the different minerals, and that region may be the tall grasses, that is elephant grass. Okay, scattered drought and resistant trees, it can be appear in this savanna and tropical, and these lions and zebras, elephant, giraffes and large hares and zebras may be available in this region. First one is the tropical, followed by the savanna and then desert. Okay, in the northwestern side of the India as well as in Africa, where we can find this species? In the northwestern region of the Thar Desert. Thar Desert of Rajasthan. Suppose this is the northwestern regions of the Indian subcontinent. Okay, it is the Aravalli mountain. The western side of the Aravalli mountain is receiving very less rainfall, and therefore this is the that is arid rain, or it is a desertified region. So what is the how much precipitation will be there in the desertified region? It will be 220, less than, actually it is less than 250 mm rain per year. Only 250 mm rain it can be received, and temperature may be fluctuate. Sometimes may be very hot, and sometimes at a night there will be too cold. That is alternate heating and cooling. It may peel the rocks. Foliation can be takes place, followed by the very intensive winds. The rocks may be peeled off, Again, the peeling followed by the high intensity winds, and those winds may shift the different loess, different soil deposit or the sand particles, and it may create a different dunes. And again, dunes may be shifted from one place to another place. That is, an erratic climate can be created by this kind of the condition. This is the desertified region where uh, the sparse xerophytes and like the cacti or cactus and scalunants, these are the different kinds of the species, okay, and those are not very tall species, very, yes, xerophytes, and very small species, or okay, that is a nocturnal animals, those can reside at the night, they can inhabit at the night time. Reptiles and camels and animals are adapted to survive, to conserve the water. Okay, camel is used. Xerophyte and thallophyte. Okay, xerophyte means those cannot bearing the good vasculation system, or the flower bearers. Those are not a flower bearing. That is a xerophyte. Another one is a temperate and grassland. Okay. Fourth one is a temperate and grassland. Hot summers, cold winters. Okay. Here also the temperature again going to dropping from the desert to the temperate grassland, where only 25 to 75 centimeter rainfall may be available, and highly fertile soil. The soil will be highly fertile. That is, a short and tall grasses will be appear. Few to no trees. Trees are not here, those are not growing. Soil is very good. The different animals like the bisons and prairies, dogs and wild horses and grazing herbivores. Okay, those are the flesh eaters. It can be appear, and these are the different region of the world. Now the temperate forest. Temperate forest means the four distinct seasons: the warm summer, cold winter, rich fertile soil. Okay, deciduous trees like oak and maples that shed the leaves in the autumn. Okay, spring followed by the autumn, those trees can be shed. Deer, bears, and squirrels, foxes, and the migratory birds will appear in this temperate forest. The next one is the taiga or the boreal forest. That is the long and the cold winters. Long and cold winters, short summers, acid nutrients, poor soil is available in this region. Conifers and evergreen forest can be appear, like the that is gymnospermic species. That is the conifers or the naked. Those are having just naked seeds. That is conifers. Okay, those are opposite of the angiosperms. Then the pine and spruce fir, that is also fir, we can call it a fir, with a needle-like leaves can be seen in this fir. That is the different kinds of the mouse and the lynx and migratory birds are also appear in this taiga. The last one is a tundra. Tundra region will be appear at the both side of the north and south. That is extreme cold, high winds, or the permafrost और परमानेंटली फ्रोजन सॉइल. नॉर्दर्न एंड सदर्न जो हमारे अर्थ के दो पोल है, ये पोल के रीजन में हमें जैसे कि 65 डिग्री के अबव एट द नॉर्थ एंड दी 65 डिग्री अबव द ओके बिलो दी द ट्रॉपिक ऑफ द कैंसर फॉलोड बाय द ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैप्रिकॉर्न. कैप्रिकॉर्न के नीचे और ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर के ऊपर का जो हिस्सा है हमारे प्लैनेट के ऊपर का, दैट इज दी that is a tundra, and those are also having different kinds of the tree lace or the low growing mosses and lichens and the dwarf shrubs. The classification of the plantae. The plantae may be the shrubs or herbs or the trees. Okay, so these are the aquatic foxes and caribou or the polar bear. Those may be capture different species, and snowy owls. These are the species which can be reside in the tundra forest. Okay. Now the classification of the biomes, you can classify, actually it is two region. One is a terrestrial, and within the terrestrial there may be the forest may be different. Okay. Forest followed by the desert. No, another lower classification is appeared in this desert, followed by the grassland, in the savanna or the temperate grassland. You know that what is temperate, where how the distinct seasons can be warm and summer, cold winters, rich and fertile soil can be appear in this grassland. And the aquatic system, the freshwater system, as well as the marine biome. The species may occur in the saline or the salty water, it may be different, or the species from the fresh water may be different. The government of the Maharashtra is going to developing the fishery science, where the hunting or the fishing is a very important industry. In both the cases, in the fresh water as well as in the marine water, we are going to hunting enough species of the fishes. Okay, that both system we can see in the coastal region of the Indian subcontinent. Since the Indian subcontinent is supposed to be having 7,500 plus coastal region, this is from the Gujarat to the West Bengal. Okay, that is the coastal region, where you can see both type of the biomes. There is a transition from a coastal ecosystem, rich biodiversity in the transition between the land and sea. There are many species you may see, sometimes they may reside in the water, and for the hatching and for the the different reproduction phase of the life, they may come to the coastal region, that is the coastal region. That surveillance can be done for the coastal regions to search and the secure of the pollution and the monitoring. So this is a current event. It is recently that Indian indigenous spacecraft is going to monitoring. Then maritime patrolling is also important. That is for the conservation of the biodiversity or the ecology. The next point is a food pyramid. In this, on this globe, the producer and consumers, yes, that is, we can call it as a food pyramid. The producers, naturally the producers are only plants, and the consumers are many. Consumer followed by the decomposer. Okay, that is the energy source is the sun, and sun is producing the food in the presence of the plants, different pigments. The production of the plants may, for example, the trees and grasses and flowering plants. These three different biomes may the species may produce the food. The primary consumers, those are the primary consumers, and here you can see the energy available. In the lowest region, there is a 10,000 kilocalorie energy is available, and followed by it is only 10 kilocalorie, means it is going to decreasing to the apex predator. Okay, this is the producer followed by the primary consumers, in which the deer and rabbits and grasshoppers. Okay, these three are shown here. Next one is a secondary consumers, maybe for example the snakes and birds and prey and foxes. And the apex predator is supposed to be a lion, tiger and eagle, shark. Those are supposed to be the apex predator. What is meant by apex predator? There is no any threat to the apex predator. Okay, yeah, those are the last consumer of this ecosystem, and that ecosystem is going to balanced by them. That is also important. Therefore, the restoration of the ecosystem is very important. The causes of the biodiversity loss. Bolo. We are also the last predator, so we are also above them. Carnivorous means are supposed to be the apex predator. Sometimes they may eat between their own species. For take an example of the snake. Snake may eat its own species. No, that is why it is not included in this pyramid. Okay. The food pyramid or the ecological pyramid, it is over. The next over is the uses of the causes of the biodiversity loss. Why the biodiversity is going to loss? The first one is a habitat destruction for the industrialization, for the development. Okay. The newly or the new construction, number of the organizations are supposed to be going to increasing. Overall, the population is going to increasing. Therefore, the deforestation is taking place, followed by the urbanization is also developing, or due to the urbanization, agriculture, for the purpose of the agriculture, the forested land is supposed to be coming under the agricultural activities, and this is the deforestation, and that is a that is a topmost cause for to biodiversity loss. The next cause is supposed to be over exploitation. We are going to exploiting the different resources. For example, unsustainable hunting followed by the fishing and the gatherings or the overfishing oceans. What is happening? If you are going to fish hunting the species, and there is a problem for their continuation, and that will be continuous, that will be there will be the instability of those species, and over exploitation may cause the depletion of the existing species. Climate change, the continuous shifting of the temperature and the weather patterns forces species out of their native native ranges. There are the high temperature is also important, or the high temperature is also one more cause for the loss of the biodiversity. And the pollution, because this increasing temperature is going to destroying the skin or the pigmentation of the skin, and followed by the cancerous diseases or cancer causing symptoms. That is also one more reason is for pointed out by the scientist. Pollution, chemicals and plastics, followed by the excessive nutrients, maybe the fertilizers and runoff, or the poison in the ecosystem. And actually, what is happening, the influence of the industries, which is going to directly mixing to the different streams, followed by the rivers, and it is consumed by the different organisms. And the Minamata is the one more example where the different species were suffering by the carcinogenic diseases. Okay, then invasive species, the non-native species that is out compete, prey on the introduce the diseases to the native wildlife. The non-native species are supposed to be coming in the biodiversity, and they are creating the different diseases. The impact of the biodiversity is the ecosystems collapse. Ecosystem is going to collapse. Okay, for the pollination, this is a very simple agent is given, that is a pollination. For the pollination, the insects are very important to transfer the different pores or the pollen grains from a different species. Followed by this ecosystem may be collapsed, the loss of the key species like the pollinators, or it weakens the food webs and causing the pyramids to collapse. Loss of the resilience, the ecosystems losses their ability to recover from the natural disasters or diseases. For example, if the forest, if the fire is going to losing the entire biodiversity, then there will be no possibility to again restore the particular biodiversity or the ecology, and that is also the one more impact of the ecological imbalance. And another one is the economic or the human risk. The economic and human risk means the threats to the food security, and reduces the sources of the new medicines, and in harms and industries like the agricultural, and that is ecotourism. What is happening by means of the pesticides? The pesticides are supposed to be going to killing both the friends of the farmer as well as the foes both, and therefore the biodiversity and ecology is going to suffering badly. And that's all. It was all about the ecology, and the chapter is over. In tomorrow's lecture, we will talk about the that question and answer as exercise of the same topic, and tomorrow we will finish the ecology and biodiversity. And the day after tomorrow, we will start the new topic.